What up? Welcome back to my channel. If you guys have any requests, any videos you want to see, please let me know. I have so many ideas. I just don't know what you guys want to see, want to hear. So let me know. This video was requested by someone who wanted to know all about relationships, why we attract certain people, why things don't work out sometimes, if things are coincidence or if they're meant to be, type shit. So I want to put a spiritual spin on it, and I also want to talk about why I think we attract certain people. The first type of most common relationship that people are aware of is a soulmate. A soulmate is essentially someone who y'all cut from the same fabric. Like you're made of the same stuff inside. I'm gonna put it in that way because it's like easy to understand, but like you have the same soul stuff. You have the same heart frequency. Your frequencies are vibing for whatever reason, be they so opposite they're the same or just so the same. When you meet a soulmate, an initial feeling you're going to have is like, I've done this before, I've hung out with you before, I already know you. Those kinds of feelings like in the movies, oh, I feel like I've known you forever type shit. It's just a knowing inside of you that I've known this person in previous lifetimes and we've done this before. In this lifetime they may be, you know, a parent, but in a previous lifetime it was your brother, or it's just, it can be anything with a soulmate. But when you know, and these people can be your parents, brothers, sisters, significant others, anyone. The second type of relationship you can manifest, you can attract, is a karmic relationship. A karmic relationship is basically when in previous lifetimes you failed to master this lesson, you failed to, you know, completely grasp a lesson that you're meant to understand, and usually it's external lessons. How you react to something, you know, how you perceive something is usually external when it's a karmic relationship. Initially, a karmic relationship will feel like passion, fire, intensity. It's gonna feel like heat. It usually has nothing to do with compatibility. Karmic relationships can be crazy because within a karmic cycle, if you don't know what a karmic cycle is, it's basically like there's a clock, right? And the clock goes from 12 to 1, and a karmic cycle can be a month, a year, 6 years, whatever, but it's basically a cycle that, you know, life keeps manifesting lessons for you to learn from. You might find yourself going through the same things over and over and over because you have failed to take anything from it. So a karmic cycle is basically a clock which can be however long, but it's a cycle in which you're going to go through the same things until you break the cycle by learning what you're meant to learn. Usually at like 11:55, before it strikes 12, before a new karmic cycle begins, where you either break the old one or start anew, we're gonna get a big sign, a big push, you know, a strong feeling. A lot of times 11:55 will get that sign, and whatever it may be, it's gonna be obvious. You're gonna become aware that you have a choice to transcend this cycle, transcend these habits and these emotionally charged feelings and these low feelings, or to go in the cycle again, to learn what you need to learn all the way. So it's really, there's no negative, there's no positive, there's no right or wrong. There should be no effort, I feel like, when it comes to growth. And so do what feels right to you. And sometimes what feels right is not a good choice, but sometimes we have to go there in order to learn our karmic lesson. A karmic relationship, your intuition is very strong, and you cannot ignore it. You have to trust your intuition. And sometimes that is the karmic lesson that's trying to be taught. Trust your intuition. So me personally, I feel like transcending karmic cycles should be a very natural thing. I feel like my life motto or whatever would be to, you know, break your heart so many times until you're where you need to be, you know? What I mean by that is be dumb as fuck for as long as you need to be before you have that big realization. Don't force yourself to level up. If you want a very natural ascension, then I believe you should let yourself be that dumb bitch, make a dumb choice over and over, and you know what I mean, until you're literally ready. Because if you're not ready, you're gonna make excuses for yourself. It's just gonna be you going against yourself. So that's why I say, when you're in a karmic cycle or a karmic relationship, don't force anything. Because when you're ready, you will fucking be ready to the point where not even an inch of that shit will be tolerable to you anymore. So like I said, karmic relationships are oftentimes lessons that are external from you, the way you react. This person is put in place and manifested for you to see a mirror, for you to have, you know, more scenarios or more complications, I guess you want to say, therefore more growth. A karmic relationship, a lot of people say, are meant to be let go of, you know what I mean? It's oftentimes doesn't work no matter how hard you try. That's why I said compatibility is not a factor, you know? Love is not a factor. Sometimes karmic relationships are just those ones that don't work no matter how hard either of you try. It's just not there. Sometimes they're just meant to teach you something and you're meant to let go of them. But I'm not one who follows these rules, these spiritual rules, or like whatever the fuck you're supposed to do. So I honestly believe that within a karmic relationship, once you've learned the lesson, once you've become aware, once you've let go of the karmic cycle, once you've escaped the karmic cycle, and this person becomes a person again and not just a trigger and not just an enemy, I feel like it's very possible, once you don't have these like super emotionally charged feelings, once you're able to see the trigger for what it is and not just for some evil person, I think you can still have a relationship with someone once you've transcended the cycle. The thing about spirituality and about all of this stuff is that there are no rules, and that's why I looked these up online just before I did this, and I'm like reading about them, and there are like karmic cycles are this, and this, cookie cutter. You're supposed to let them go, so let them go. I don't believe in that. I just believe that intention is how this world is created, and I think that anything can serve you. Anything can serve you, literally. That's just it. You just have to, you know, mold that shit. The third type of connection is a twin flame. It's a combination of a soulmate and a karmic relationship. It's basically when in a past life your consciousness raised so much, your frequency raised so much, like you got to such a high level of consciousness that your soul had to then split into two in order to reincarnate into the 3D, in the physical earthly realm. So your twin flame is said to be your counterpart, you know, your divine counterpart, the other half of your soul. And before, in the past life, you were half the energy you are now, and that other person is everything, you know, your other half, the thing that completes you. And that's like the fairy tale, like, you know what I mean? Everyone gets really excited when they hear about it. The twin flames, for real, not all it's cracked up to be, because 9 times out of 10 a twin flame is not going to be someone that you end up with. It's going to be someone that is your literal mirror. Like, you see everything in them. You see you in them to the extreme, but you also see flaws. You see your shadow. Everything that you see in them is your mirror. And so when people aren't aware of a twin flame, they oftentimes will see that twin as you're evil, you're crazy, you know what I mean? Like all these things, when in reality it's us being mirrored back to ourselves. And it's so fucking hard to swallow. It's such a hard pill to swallow. And that's why a lot of people aren't ready to meet their twin flame. And I know damn for sure that I'm not looking for my twin flame. I'm not looking for that connection, because I already do so much work internally on my own. Imagine when you have not only your baggage to deal with, but your baggage in another body. That's essentially what a twin flame is before you're ready. And a lot of people will try to force the union. You're not gonna be with your twin flame until you're ready, until you're both ready on a soul level. And it's what that's gonna look like until then is that you're running away from each other. You have fear, you have all these insecurities and problems that you have not healed within yourself before you meet your twin flame and can live in union, and you know what I mean, find your other half again. You have to fill out the half that you are. You have to do your work. That's why a lot of people don't end up with their twin flame, because they think it's just someone who completes them. But little do you know, you can't meet your twin flame until you are on the same level of consciousness that you were before in the lifetime where your soul split. You know, it can seem very dreamy. It can seem like a fairy tale, like, oh, I want to meet my other half. But what it's going to look like at first, before, you know, you guys are all perfect and shit, it's going to be, you know, knowing you're supposed to be together. Literally, it's going to be telepathic shit. It's going to be feeling their feelings, thinking their thoughts. It's going to be all the stuff that's not comfortable. Twin flames are not all bad. It's just that in new age spirituality or whatever you want to call it. New age or whatever is good vibes only and blah blah blah, and they fail to realize that shit's not sweet like they think it is. A twin flame is going to initially feel like you met your other half. You feel whole. There's like a magnet that draws you guys together. That's what it's going to feel like at first. And oftentimes twin flames and soulmate relationships are meant to teach you lessons internally. So while a karmic relationship is meant to teach you external lessons about life and the world and the way you interact within it, twin flame and soulmate relationships are going to trigger feelings in you like self-worth, self-love, you know, finding your voice. It's going to be all things about you, about your soul, about your personal evolution. And that's kind of how you can recognize it. Either they're meant to teach us something and that be it, or they're meant to teach us something within ourselves. So always within a relationship, don't be so easily manipulative and so vulnerable to, you know, take the blame for everything. But it's so important to look at yourself, and whatever someone else brings up in you, whatever feelings they trigger in you, I've learned is the literal greatest blessing. And I can never be mad at anyone who fucks me over, who, you know, treats me like shit. I mean, I don't fuck with you, but at the end of the day, you taught me something so priceless. And a lot of these lessons, they feel like fucking challenges. They feel like unnecessary challenges. You have to include another person in the mix, and it's so hard, especially when you're sensitive. Another person in the mix is like fucking 10 people in the mix for a Gemini. I think you can make anything work, but I don't think that you have to. I don't even know if I believe that in fate, in the sense of everything's already set in stone. I don't necessarily believe that everything is already, God made our lives for us. I think that He's helping us create, she's helping us create. So I feel like within relationships, you have full power. I don't rely on, well, it's meant to be or it's not. I don't rely on that. Because just know that you can make it work with anyone. You can fall in love with anyone. Like, that's just how I feel. But it's all about the vibes. How do you feel? Do you feel strained? Are you forcing it? Does it feel good? Does it nourish you? Because you can make anything work, but your feelings will tell you if it's what's meant for you. All these relationships that you can have, I feel like you attract them for a reason. You attract them when you're ready. I don't know if I found my twin flame. Sometimes I question, sometimes I wonder. But at the end of the day, it's not something I'm searching for, and it's not something I care about that much, because it's just something that it's a natural bonus. You know what I mean? When you're doing the work. It shouldn't necessarily be a goal, but it's just something beautiful and miraculous that happens when you're already on the path. So I would say focus on your path.